Good morning, good morning, good morning. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and you are breathing. Today is Monday, December 11th, 2023. My name is Stephen Carnegie, and welcome to This Is Just a Thought. Hey, before we go any further, I would like to ask you all if you're a returning listener or subscriber, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But if this is your first time, hit that like and subscribe button and that bell so you can get notified when I drop these podcasts. Keep you in the loop. Hey, we want everyone to enjoy what I am saying or talking about. Could be some things you never thought about before. Like I said, the name of this podcast is This Is Just a Thought with Stephen Carnegie. Hey, it's just a thought. Maybe you guys could give me some new things to talk about, some new topics. Hey, or maybe you'll just cuss me out. I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? But whatever the case, hey, hit that like and subscribe button and hit that bell so you can get notified. Please and thank you. Like I said, if you're a returning listener or a subscriber, thank you from the bottom of my humble heart. All right. Let's move along here. Hey, today's word of the day is contraband, which means smuggled goods. Contraband. Hey, I hope everyone enjoyed their weekend. For the most part here in North Carolina, weather-wise, it was pretty good. A little cool, but it was manageable until Sunday. I mean, it rained all day, all day. I think it started Saturday evening, maybe with a little sprinkles here and there. And by Sunday, sometime Sunday morning, in the wee hours of the morning, the rain came and it pretty much rained all day. Good sleeping weather. It just was. Hey, temperatures were in the 50s going into the 60s, but it rained all day. And yeah, I got to be honest with you, I pretty much just loafed around. Couldn't go anywhere. Like I said, it's sometimes the rain was heavy, the wind was blowing. We got a tornado in Garner, North Carolina, and that's in Wake County, right outside of Raleigh, and it did do some damage, but no one was injured or killed or anything like that. In comparison to Tennessee, man, it just ravaged Tennessee. That was the same system that came through Tennessee and Kentucky on Saturday. By the time it made it here Sunday, it was just rain and heavy winds. Like I said, that tornado popped up, and they had advised that there was going to be a tornado warning pretty much all night, but nothing materialized. Luckily, it dwindled out to just rain. And man, I got to be honest with you. Like I said, I just loafed around all day. Just did. Um, Good sleeping weather. It just was. It just was. It really was. Like I said, I just so thankful that the severe weather that they were predicting never really reached here in North Carolina. Like I said, it could have been worse in comparison to Tennessee. But all in all, it was good. Now, of course, temperatures are it's gotten back to normal. Temperatures are in the 50s, maybe even the 40s, and they're saying tonight or maybe Tuesday night, temperatures are going to drop down into the 20s, freezing. So here we go on that roller coaster again. I believe later on in the week they're saying temperatures are going to get back up into the 50s or 60s during the day. But here comes that roller coaster. Now, if you know the old wise tale that if it rains or thunderstorms, even, I should say thunderstorms usually in the fall or the winter, 10 to 14 days later, there's going to be some snow. Mm, mm, mm. Well, it would be just in time for Christmas if that old wise tale is true. I mean, like I said, today is the 11th. What is that? 14 more days until Christmas. Mm, we could be having a white Christmas here in North Carolina. Doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it. I really do. Would be nice. Man, I think it has been a while since we got some snow on Christmas, and even then, it wasn't that much. Just wasn't. But it would be nice to wake up Christmas morning to some snow. Hopefully, not that much if it does snow. Because if you're from, this part of North Carolina, when it snows, it pretty much shuts the whole town down. Nothing moves. It just doesn't. Yeah, us Southerners aren't used to the snow. We just aren't. We just aren't. Hey, here's something I haven't really talked about. Um, I want to say Friday, maybe Friday night or Saturday night, whatever the case may be. I haven't talked about the NBA has been having their mid-season tournament. I'm not a fan of it, but they had the mid-season tournament, and the Los Angeles, sorry, Lakers won. They defeated the Indianapolis Pacers. Not too sure how the Pacers got there. I mean, the Pacers they're a young team. They're pretty decent. But there's more teams in the East that could have represented the East in this. But whatever the case may be, the Lakers won, and you know the Lakers faithful. I'm a Lakers fan. I'm a diehard Lakers fan. I've always been that way and always will be. And they're saying, hey, this is just an indication that the Lakers are going to win it all this year. Now, I ain't going that far. I'm just not. I'm not going that far, folks. I love the Lakers. They are a good squad. I give it. They have made some improvements from what I saw during this tournament. I'm sorry. During this tournament, they have made some improvements. They brought some players in, some ballers, some guys that could play pretty well. I'm not going to deny that. And LeBron looks good. He's in rare form. Even Anthony Brittle Bones Davis got down. Just did. So that has the Lakers faithful up in arms and ranting and raving, saying, "Yeah, we're gonna win it all this year." They could if they continue to play like they did in this mid-season tournament. They really could. They could shock the entire NBA and the world. Could dethrone the Denver Nuggets. But I ain't gonna hold my breath. I ain't gonna hold my breath. Because after all, this is the mid-season tournament. And the season, we still got a little ways to go before we get to those playoffs and the end of the season. And we know how that goes with any sports. People get tired, they get injured. Um, there may even be some hostility in the locker room. Who knows? So we'll see what happens. But hats off to the Los Angeles Lakers for winning that mid-season tournament in Las Vegas. Las Vegas, really? Well, I know the bookies and odds makers. They probably made their money's worth off of this. Of all places, Las Vegas. Hmm. It sure appears that sports gambling. It ain't only becoming legalized, the popularity is growing. Because here in North Carolina, by sometime next year, early part of next year, February or March or so, it's going to be legal to bet on sports here in North Carolina. I got to be honest with you, something I never thought I would see in the old Bible Belt. Well, I mean, they have the lottery scratch offs and, the little pick three, pick four, pick five, mega millions or whatever, what have you. So I guess it would make sense to up it a bit. I mean, hey, if the state can make money off of it, I guess it's all right. Hmm. Well, we'll see. But like I said, it certainly has become not just legal, but the popularity is booming. Folks are going to make some money. I'm not much of a gambler. I got to be honest with you. I don't do the gambling. I just don't. Not even if it's amongst friends. I just don't. I played one time, the little pick four, and I won. And just so happened it was a lucky break for me. I needed to get my radiator fixed, and I won, and it was enough to pay for my radiator, and I had a little bit left over. I went back to try to play again, and I ain't win nothing. So I said, hey, that was my blessing. I just stopped. But some folks love to gamble. Hey, hats off to you. If that's your bag, that's your bag. But me personally, I'm not a Bible thumper, like I always tell you, but I work too hard to lose my money like that. I just ain't gonna give you my money. I'm just not. Like I said, I'm not a gambler, not a Bible thumper, but I ain't knocking nobody who is. If you gamble, you gamble. Hey, that's your risk. Just ain't my bag. Just ain't my bag. Just ain't my bag. I bet my hard-earned money on other folks to win a game. Just not gonna do it. Just not gonna do it. All right, let's move along here, man. Hey, 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 hey. Yesterday was, of course, doing all that good rain, and that sad to say that tornado in Garner. It was Sunday football. A lot of great games, though. A lot of great games, and we had some shockers again. End of the season is nearing, so a lot of teams are vying for playoffs and wild cards, and they're hell bent on making it to the Super Bowl. So they're playing hard and they're playing better. Looks like um, the Houston Texans were defeated by the New York Jets, 30-6. The Jets. Zach Wilson, he looked good. He looked good. I know the Houston Texans, and you may be saying, well, that's the Houston Texans. No, because the Houston Texans, Stroud, he's been looking pretty good. He's a rookie. He's been looking pretty good all this year. I believe he got injured. Maybe that was a plus for the Jets because they came out and they won the game 30-6. Surprising. And the Rams defeated the Ravens defeated the Rams in overtime. The Ravens fought hard, Lamar Jackson, because the Rams, if you watch that game, the Rams were leading. It looked like they were going to take it. But somehow, some way, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, they got down to business and they put in some work and they pulled it out in overtime. It just did. And the New Orleans Saints, they defeated the Carolina Panthers. No surprise there, 28-6. No surprise. The woes continue for the Panthers. They're certainly going to have to do some in addition to hiring a coach, they're going to have to they're going to have to do some work in this offseason. I mean, you got Bryson Young there. You got a once again, top tier quarterback. Hope you guys don't do like so many other NFL teams, just let this guy go to waste and then say he's garbage and trade him off somewhere. To me, it doesn't look like he's garbage. It looks like the personnel you have around him are garbage. And of course, the coaching. That showed they fired the coach last week. But the interim, hey, he may just be holding on, trying to get through the rest of the season. And then maybe the Panthers organization will work something out. They sure need to. You guys really do. Got some fairly decent talent there. You just do. And move along here. The Bengals defeated the Colts 34-14. No surprise. Burrows is playing limited minutes. That's interesting. And a shocker. Shocker, shocker, shocker. The Chicago Bears defeated the Detroit Lions. I told you guys I had predicted the Detroit Lions to lead the NFC North. They still in the lead, and they were looking good. I mean, they lost last week, and then they come back and lose to the Bears this week, 28-13. Justin Fields looked good. Just did. Made his reads, made his check down, got some good key throws and touchdowns, ran for one. No interceptions. What in the world happened to Goff and the Lions? They fell apart. It was like they're falling apart before our eyes. Like I said, they lost last week. I believe they lost last week to the Packers. So many are scratching their heads. Like I said, they're leading that NFC North still, and they're in the playoffs. But after their performance the past 2 weeks, many are scratching their heads saying, well, maybe they just aren't that team we thought they were. I ain't going to go that far yet. But they certainly maybe it has something. I just think a lot of times when these teams that have done well in the beginning of the season, when they get closer to the end of the season, they do get a little weary, tired. That could be the case. That could be the case. But yeah, the Chicago Bears won. Bear down. The Bears. Surprising. I didn't see that coming. I think those coaches are trying to hold on to that coaching staff, including the head coach. I think they're trying to hold on to their job. So sad, so sorry. Bye bye. I don't think you guys are going to be back next year. And quite possibly Justin Fields, because it has been said again, or rumored again, or an hypothesis that Justin Fields may end up with the Atlanta Falcons. Maybe. Maybe the Falcons can take and do something with him. Maybe the Falcons will let him do what he do, because the Bears show have it. Continuously trying to make him out to a pocket quarterback. But it seemed like yesterday he said, hey, I'm going to do my own thing. I just said. And he did. 28-13. Congratulations to the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields. All right. The San Francisco 49ers defeated the Seattle Seahawks 28-16. No surprise there. It just isn't. But this next game, I don't know what in the world this was. The Minnesota Vikings defeated the Las Vegas Raiders 3-0. Yeah, you heard me right, 3-0. I don't know what the world that was. Uh, four quarters of football, and all the points were scored were three. A field goal by Minnesota. Surprising, really is surprising, man. But these next two games was a shocker. Just was. We'll start out with the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bills defeated the Chiefs 20-17. The second week in a row, the Chiefs have lost. And the talk of the game isn't them losing, but the meltdown and explosion of Patrick Mahomes at the end of the game. He went ballistic, threw his helmet, cussing and ranting and raving. Well, the refs gave them an offsides penalty near the end of the game when they were trying to make their move to score a touchdown, and quite possibly touchdown and an extra point, and quite possibly, or to get in the field goal range to take the lead. And they called an offsides on one of their receivers who had lined up. At first glance, he looked like he was on the, because he was further out. They had some more people sitting back, and if you first glance, you would have thought, "Oh, that's a bad call, bum call." But at closer look, he was offsides, and that sent Patrick Mahomes into a firestorm. Yeah, he walked over to the sideline, threw his helmet down, was cussing and ranting and raving, and supposedly, allegedly, to Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen at the end of the game when they meet up and they're saying congratulations, good game. He put a few choice words into Josh Allen's ear, profanity. The Kansas City on again, off again Chiefs. Coincidentally, Matt Nagy strikes again because that play calling was horrible. Um, that is the former Bears head coach from last year that was fired. I'm not too quite sure why Andy Reid hired him. I think he may have been a coach under Andy Reid at some point in time, and maybe he felt he was doing him a favor. I don't think you did him a favor. Well, you didn't do your team a favor. You may have done him a favor, but it's showing. Matt Nagy should be nowhere near the Kansas City Chiefs. Uh, I would restrict his role if I would if I were the Chiefs, because obviously he can't make too many good play calls. Just can't. He did, but he didn't. I should say. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes lost it yesterday. Had never seen that from him. But everybody has their moments. It was a very close game, and it was a good game. Very surprising to see the Buffalo Bills pull it out. The Bills, they've been struggling also, and many have been questioning Josh Allen, but that's just what Josh Allen does. He does that. He goofs around a little bit, then all of a sudden he turns it on, just like the Magic Man, Patrick Mahomes. Wow. Uh, the verdict's still out on that one. Will the Chiefs repeat? They could. Not playing like they're playing. The Kansas City on again, off again Chiefs. Hmm. Hope Patrick Mahomes figures it out. And like I said, it has a lot of people talking about his behavior. It was a football game. That's what football players do. They get in a moment. They hate to lose. And you certainly hate to lose when you're that close to winning off of, I want to say, a bonehead play. Everyone knows how to line up. But he may have been too anxious and wasn't paying attention. Attention to detail. Attention to detail. All right, let's move on to the next one. Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Dallas Cowboys won 33-13. Yeah, you heard me right. The Cowboys won 33-13. Dak Prescott, he's looking good. He is looking good. He is. He knows he's getting rid of the ball now. They're saying this West Coast offense is perfect for his style of play. Drop back, check down give your reads, check down. If it ain't there, take off and make something happen. Your receivers will move, hopefully. And that's exactly what happened yesterday against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles, they may be that team that's just getting tired as the season closes because they didn't look too tough yesterday. They just didn't. They didn't have any answers. The defense didn't look tough. The offense didn't look tough. Jalen Hurts may be that guy that, like I said, as a whole, the team they may just be tired. But with the Cowboys winning, they have avenged their early season loss to the Eagles, and the Cowboy faithful have started up. This is our year. We are Super Bowl bound, baby. Mm, 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 mm. I ain't gonna front though. Dak Prescott did look good. High number of completions, no interceptions. But this ain't y'all year. Y'all ain't going to the Super Bowl. This is what the Cowboys do every year. Every single year. Right around town, if they make it to the playoffs, they will skid and flop. They just will. But I gotta admit, I gotta eat my words. They do look good. They do. They really do. They look pretty damn good. I got to admit. I have to admit they look good. Dak Prescott is doing his thing. Like I said, this West Coast offense style of play, it may be right for him. Maybe what he needed all along. Shake up the Cowboys offense. And like I said, everybody's doing what they need to do. The defense, hey, we already know that defense. That defense is always stellar. They're going to do what they do, and they're going to shut things down and hold opposing teams to low minimum scores, except for that San Francisco game. But hey, they are looking good. They are looking good, but I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl. I just don't. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But hey, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. We're going to see what happens. We are going to see what happens. Hey, and a little bit of business news, and it's kind of sad. Of course, we're right here at the holidays. Looks like toy maker Hasbro. They make the Transformers, the Dungeons and Dragons fantasy game, even Monopoly. Looks like they're going to lay off about 900 more. They're going to get rid of or cut about 900 more jobs in the next 18 to 24 months. So those workers going into next year, like I said, right here at the holidays or the start of next year, they're going to be unemployed. And what has come out is they're saying that shares of the company have gone down 4% in extended trading. Um, Maybe folks aren't buying toys like that. I thought the Transformers action figures for those collectors, always thought that was a good buy. I'm not much into collecting toys. I never was. I can't say that I ever was one. I can honestly tell you I wasn't. But I love Transformers. But yeah, this is it's kind of, well, it is sad, but this is business. We all know that this is business. Hey, but to think that they're going to lay off all those workers at the beginning of next year, let's just be honest, or sometime during next year, I'm sure they're going to start the process here soon. Maybe at the beginning of next year, after Christmas is over, of course. Man, a lot of folks are going to be unemployed. Continuation of this bleak economy that we're facing, I should say. And speaking of which, kind of ties into the next story I'm going to talk about because, as you know, those members of the GOP in the House and the Senate have came out, as I told you last week, and said, "Hey, we're not sending one more nickel, one more penny, no more aid to Ukraine or Israel until we get this border secured." Well, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, he appeared in Washington today, this morning. He's going to be here tomorrow also. I believe he's going to pull out maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. And he's pretty much, given a speech. And he's saying, hey, you guys can't cut this off right now. We're in intense fighting with Russia. We're making some real leadway. Side note, you really haven't heard that much about that fighting in Russia since that fighting in the Middle East has started with Israel and Hamas. Hmm. So how are we to know that you're making some leadway? But he came to Washington D.C. today, and hey, he gave a gut wrenching speech to which he said that what's going on with Russia may be the fighting in the Ukraine. It's a real target. Its real target is freedom. Freedom. Even though they're fighting going back and forth, they're trying to preserve their freedom from Russia, who wants to come in and take control of everything. Hmm. I don't mean to sound like a heartless bastard. Oftentimes I do. But like I said last week, and I got to say this again, um, I just can't honestly see, and I'm not just talking about Ukraine or what's going on in Israel. I can't see giving all that money and all that aid to these countries when the United States is struggling like all get up. Small and frivolous as that is with the toy maker Hasbro, that's 900 jobs. 900 jobs of Americans that aren't going to have families or whatever that are on their way out. They're done. Now, President Joe Biden has asked Congress for 61.4 billion for wartime funding for Ukraine as part of a 110 billion dollar package. This package also includes money for Israel and other national security priorities. Wow. Um, how much more money do these countries need? And like I said, I'm not being arrogant, and I certainly hope you don't take that as that. But I just would like for those that say, "Oh, you're just a heartless, simple-minded bastard." I just would like to ask you if we continue to give money to these countries for their defense, and heaven forbid if something comes up here, maybe we have, well, I don't know, maybe we have that much money in reserve somewhere. But with this border crisis, and it is continuing, and it has ramped up, with this border crisis and people just walking over the border and seeking asylum and receiving asylum, you got to stop and ask yourself, is it the right thing to do to send all this money? I mean, $110 billion package to aid another country that they've already gotten millions, Ukraine and Israel also. They've already gotten weapons and ammunition. As I say, how much more money do these countries really need? Um, like I said, it's caught up in a debate because those members of the GOP in the House and the Senate have said pretty much we're not sending or we're not voting or approving, I should say, one more dime or one more nickel or one more penny until this border is secured. It has to be secured. There's no way around it. Like I said, everyone deserves to be here in the United States if they're truly in under a desperate situation in their homeland. I get it, got it, understand it. You get no quarrels or arguments from me. Everyone does deserve that, but there's a right and a wrong. There's a right and a wrong way to do things, and you just being allotted or allowed to go cross over that border without any documentation, and then just allowed to roam this country freely. That ain't it. It just ain't. Um, it oftentimes amazes me that the U.S. will venture out into foreign lands, but can't and won't take care of what's at home. Because in addition to this border crisis, and not just illegal immigrants coming across, It's something that I really wasn't, I was aware of, but I never really sat down and thought about it. The fentanyl crisis. Apparently, that fentanyl is coming across that southern border. That's been a hot topic for the Republicans during their debates. So that border has got to be secured. On one hand, you're saying that you got people coming across, and we got to it's the humanitarian thing to do. Get it, got it, understand it. But at the same time, you're saying you can't restrict them. But at the same time, you know that that's where the fentanyl is coming from, where it's coming through that border, that southern border. Many of folks have lost their lives, are losing their lives, are addicted. Many of families are having to bury young men and women because that fentanyl is so readily available now. So I get the argument. I understand wholeheartedly. In my heart, it does bleed for those that are caught up in these situations in these two foreign lands. But we got to take care of home first. We just do. Um, it astonished me that those elected officials know that we have this problem with fentanyl, and they get on that soapbox around election time and pledge we want to fight it to the bitter end. But the only ones I hear talking about shutting down that border, because now it's widely known where it's coming from, are the Republicans. The Democrats, they give a good talking point. It tugs at your heart, but it doesn't appear that you guys are willing to do what you know you need to do to get rid of this fentanyl problem in this country. Maybe we'll all just sit by and watch it come in. It like I said, it blows my mind that we're actually having this debate with all that we know that is going on with this fentanyl crisis in this country. It just does. And with this border being open, I know many will say, well, that's Donald Trump running his mouth. It ain't that bad. It ain't that serious as it relates to uh, those illegals coming across that are part of the drug cartel, or they're not really escaping political harshness or whatever, what have you. Maybe, maybe not, but you can't convince me otherwise. There's no one sitting or walking the face of this earth that can convince me that we know what's there, we know who's coming across, and we should just stand by and allow them to do that, and only say this is a open border, or this is democracy at work. This ain't democracy at work. Not the democracy I would want. If you're allowing people just to come across that you know shouldn't be here, or you're allowing drugsters to come into this country that you know are hurting and harming U.S. citizens. Not being a jerk. I'm just not. I do have some compassion, but that compassion is to a limit. And when that interferes with my safety and well being, that compassion goes out the window. I think you need to be met. I just do. I just do. Um, Hate to say it. If we continue to allow this, it's going to get out of hand. Hey, it just is. With most problems, we all know as adults, we've been on this earth long enough. We know when we don't handle a problem right away, it's small and minuscule, but sooner or later it turns into something huge, and it's out of hand and out of control. And we're running around like chickens with our heads cut off, trying to calm it down. By then, it's too late. It has been allowed to fester. So I can understand where President Zelensky and those in the Democratic Party and his Israel is coming from. I get it, got it, understand it. But the U.S. need you guys got to tighten that purse a little bit, because if you continue to allow this thing to go on and fester, pretty soon you're going to need funding, and it ain't going to be readily available. Will Israel give some of that money back, or lend us a helping hand as far as our finances? Will Ukraine do the same? No. Ukraine, hey, all their money and resources is gone to fighting this war against Russia. So it's obvious and self evident they don't have the funding. They just don't. Hmm. Makes you wonder. Makes you wonder. about those we put into power, do they really have our best interests in mind and at heart? No. They got their own agenda. It appears they do, just do. Because anybody with half a brain would see that just continuously sending money and and weapons for another country to defend themselves wholeheartedly while leaving your country open ain't a good decision. At some point in time, you gotta pull back and say enough is enough. And I think this is it. This is the time. It just is. It has to be. It's had to be. Or maybe this is just a talking point for the Republicans because the elections are coming up. Could be. But it certainly has many people thinking and talking about the funding of these wars in these foreign lands and how it really and truthfully affects the United States. I mean, you guys have already sent millions and billions, and you're asking for more. How much damn more do you need? We got to be honest with each other. How much damn more money do you need? Um, I just, I know, but the answer is no for me. I don't think you guys need any more funding. You need to stand your ground and handle your business. Just do. Just do. All right. Let's go get it. Man, last week it was announced that the FDA has approved what they're calling a revolutionary sickle cell gene therapy. And they're saying it's a big deal. If you don't know much about sickle cell, it is a chronic disease, chronic debilitating condition disease that roughly affects over 100,000 Americans, most of them African Americans. If you've ever known anyone that has had sickle cell or has passed away from sickle cell, it can be just heart wrenching to watch them suffer, especially children. A lot of times it's something you're born with. You can have the trait, or you can actually be born with it. But it's just horrible to watch these kids suffer with this pain that they endure with sickle cell. And if you know anything, like I said, if you know anything about it, for the longest time, there really wasn't much research, really wasn't much acknowledgement about sickle cell. It was just one of those things where they say, hey, we don't know enough about it. We'll still do research, yada, 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 rah, 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 shish, boom, bah. And to be honest with you, like I just said, it affects or mainly affects African Americans or those with African American genes. So if you know anything about as it relates to medicine, like we talked about with Henrietta Lacks, there really wasn't much care given or much thought or emphasis put on African Americans in medicine at one point in time. But now it looks like it has changed. It just does because sickle cell is this. It's a debilitating condition, painful condition that attacks red blood cells. Now, what they're saying is the FDA has approved a groundbreaking treatment for it that uses the editing, genetic editing tool called CRISPR, CRISPR. Apparently, what they're hoping and what they're doing, they're saying it's going to work. That well, what happens is the red blood cells in those that have sickle cell, it's attacked. It takes on an abnormal shape or whatever. And if you're saying, well, what does red blood cells actually do? Red blood cells are used to mainly carry oxygen from the lungs and it delivers it throughout the body. So if it's attacking those red blood cells, um, it certainly drains the body of energy and oxygen and other organs suffer also. Wow. And it gets that the red blood cells, of course, it gets its shape after it's been attacked. It turns into a sickle shape. So that's where you get the sickle cell syndrome from. That's the reason or the backing behind the name. Now, this one particular doctor, he says when he talks to the patients, especially the young adults who have sickle cell disease, um, they often tell them that it's a silent disease. Yeah. And just like I said, at one point in time, when many of those that had sickle cell, if well, at one point in time, if you had sickle cell, uh, your age expectancy to live with this disease was around 15 or 16 or 18. Now I believe it's gotten up into the 20s because for the longest time, if you made it to 18, you were considered to be doing well. So now I think it's gotten up to 28. And also when I say that it was going back to African Americans and medicine and diseases and how it was perceived and thought of when these people went into the hospital or went to the room after having what they call a pain crisis, it was thought that they were just there to get opioids, thought that they were just druggies. But then they were, if some of them were fortunate enough to get admitted, they would then understand what was going on and they would give them the medicine to help quell or calm down some of the pain, but it was very limited because these sickle cell crises, they were come back. They would go away for a while and then they would come back. So the advancements that are being done now, it is it's great. It's great because, um, like I said, if you know anyone that has sickle cell, I had a cousin. She passed from it, and to see her pain crisis, man, it just tore you all up. From birth till around, I believe she was in her 20s when she passed. And at that time, they were saying that that was good. But then shortly after, they came out and they said that the life expectancy had went from 18 to 28. She was in her mid or early or mid 20s. So with this genetic editing, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the process includes um, the taking away the bone marrow. That's painful. That's painful. Somehow, some way, they get in and they take out the bone marrow and wait for it to repair itself, and hopes that it takes away those red blood cells, those affected and defective red blood cells, and replaces them with healthy red blood cells, and hope they can reverse the condition, sickle cell. Apparently, it has worked, or they're in the beginning stages. So the FDA went ahead and approved it last week, early last week or mid last week. Uh, I really and truthfully hopes it works. Because, like I said, if you know anyone that has it or has had it, it breaks your heart to see them suffer like that. And I can imagine way back yonder when these parents, because I've heard the story from, like I said, I had a cousin. Her mother and her aunt would tell how they would go to the hospital, and people thought that the doctors and nurses were looking at them strangely, or treating them strangely. And one time they said they went and they had a nurse, a younger nurse, and she had never heard of sickle cell, didn't know what it was, wasn't taught anything about it. Coincidentally, she was black. So if you're thinking it was just those white doctors and nurses in the medical field, there are a lot of black folks that don't know anything about it. Just are. Um, when I was, of course, a first time father, and each time they're over, I made it clear to the doctors and nurses when they were born or the pre screening, I need you to screen them for sickle cell. Carries the trait is carried on my side of the family, so I made sure. And that's another thing people need to, you need to make sure you know your family's medical history to make sure that you get that screening, that you get that testing even after that child is here. Screen for sickle cell. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. So, like I said, there are a lot of people who don't know about sickle cell. Hopefully now they're getting wind of it. It ain't just confined to those white professionals in the medical field. Because, like I said, that black nurse she was younger, she had never heard of it a day in her life. They said she stood there dumbfounded, couldn't believe it. Hey, it is what it is. A lot of things aren't talked about. A lot of these rare diseases, they aren't talked about or not aren't known or taught until you don't know until you need to know. So, like I said, the years ago, it looks like it's getting better. The life expectancy has gone up because, like I said, years ago, When I was a kid coming along, you weren't expected to make it until 18. If you made it past 18, you were doing good. You were doing damn good. So, hey, I just hope and pray that they do make leadway and could get rid of, or at least have something that can control the sickle cell, those pain crises. So, hey, hats off to the FDA. Apparently, there's been some doctors that have been working on it. Hats off. I'll keep you guys updated on this because it certainly something's got to be done. Can't we can no longer ignore these diseases and ailments and conditions because it only horns in and targets one specific race. Just can't do that. That's inhumane. That's one of the most inhumane things I think any human being or any group of human beings or any decision socially could be made. That you know that a disease horns in and targets a specific race, and you just completely ignore it. That's inhumane. It's an embarrassment. Perhaps someone finally decided that hey, this is embarrassing for us as citizens going into the 21st or in the 21st century, and we haven't done anything, and we've known about it for decades. So, hey, glad something's being done. I just am. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to skedaddle. Time for me to beat feet, let's say. Uh, Still, like, hey, like I said, we have a lot going on in this world. Um, Still got layoffs going on. Hasbro ain't the only one. It's going to be a whole lot more. The economy, it is looking good, but it ain't really looking that good. Not where it should be. Uh, I'm no financial guru. I'm no financier or economist, but I just think the economy should be doing a whole lot better than it is. And of course, you got those in the House and the Senate, the GOP, they're saying we're not giving one more penny to these war efforts, whether they're being butt heads against President Joe Biden, because it ain't just a Democratic thing when they donate or give this money. I should say Republicans have done the same thing too. So maybe this is just a ploy by the Republicans. They're just being butt heads. But whatever the case may be, someone needs to put a bug in both parties' ear, Republican and Democrat. We as regular degular U.S. citizens, we're getting tired of this. We're getting tired of biting the bullet and having to do without because you guys feel as though you can do what you want to and support and help who you want to. Folks are not having it. They just aren't. They just aren't. And of course, the FDA's new approval of this genetic altering therapy for sickle cell. Hey, couldn't be better. Couldn't be better. Well, I'm going to go and get out of here. I'm going to go and skedaddle. Hey, keep your eyes on the NFL and these playoffs. It's looking good. It's getting exciting. Like I said, a lot of these teams that know they're in there, they still got to fight on their hands because you got a lot of teams that aren't just laying over and rolling over because you're the big dog in the yard and you came off the porch. They're fighting for wild cards. They're fighting for playoff positions. It looks like the Cowboys have the home field playoff advantage. Wow. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that? We'll see what happens. Like I said, keep your eyes on the playoffs, and I'll most definitely keep you updated as it goes for my Chicago Bears. Talk is talk, and a lot of people are saying they're getting ready to trade Justin Fields away, and they're going to take that first round pick as Caleb Williams out of USC. Maybe they should. Or maybe they should stick with Justin Fields and take another first round pick out of USC, Marvin Harrison Jr. And you know his father. He played with Peyton Manning down there in Indianapolis, and they were hot to trot. He moves and works just like his father. So maybe they should stick with that. Stop getting all these quarterbacks and then just trading them away and then suffer for 3, 4, 5 years. It's just idiotic to me. Just is. I could be wrong. I don't know anything about football. I'm not in football operations. So yeah, maybe the Bears should look past old Caleb. Let Caleb go somewhere else and pick up Marvin Harrison. You already got a good quarterback. I'm sorry, you just do. Maybe they got money to buy him like that. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. Like I said, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to skedaddle. Hey, I want to thank you all for lending me your ears this morning. Continue to like, support, share. Hey, offer feedback. Get in that comment section. Let me know what you think about the topics I brought out today. Hasbro laying off. FDA's approval of this new sickle cell therapy, revolutionary sickle cell therapy program, and of course, Ukrainian President Vladimir here. I'm sorry, not Vladimir. Why did I call that guy that? Zelensky. Thinking about Putin. We all know old Putin. Zelensky here. Hey, he's trying to put the pressure on the U.S. Politicians. Hey, I need more money. I need more funding. I need more weapons. Is that a good or a bad thing for us here in the United States as far as it relates? Hey, also to our economy and that southern border, because the GOP has said we're not giving you one more thin dime. We got to secure this border, especially with those undocumented coming across and this fentanyl crisis we're facing in this country. And it is a crisis. Don't fool yourself. It is a crisis. If you're thinking, hey, it ain't my problem, my kid ain't on it, or my family member ain't on it, your kid or your family member still has to interact with someone who's using it. And your friend or your another family member, it may be dealing with the crisis firsthand, whether they lost someone or they're looking at one of their family members being addicted to this fentanyl. So maybe I'm wrong when I say, yeah, I think the U.S. needs to stop sending aid to foreign lands and take care of home. Am I? Let me know. Hey, like I always say, I'm pretty thick skinned. I won't bite, not physically. Verbally, I may, but hey, we're all adults. We can all carry on an adult conversation or debate without getting downright indignant. I think. I hope. So, once again, thank you all for lending me your ears this morning. This is Just a Thought with Stephen Carnegie. Amen.